It's time for the main event. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's some amazing lettering. Did you ever wonder about the look of the lettering in your favorite comic books? Well, Kirk Visola did, and he researched the history of comic lettering, which he will share with us today. Kirk told me a funny story about a superhero of his own, his car, Bert, his 2009 Toyota Yaris. Bert's superpower is that anytime Kirk parks him in any parking lot away from all other cars at the grocery store, Bert always ends up with another car right next to him. Here's how the superpower works. Once Kirk parks his car in the grocery store parking lot and enters the store, when he comes back out, guaranteed, there is another car parked next to Bert. Ernie is Kirk's other car, and Ernie does not have this magical power, sadly. Just Bert. Wow. Without further ado, let's bring it on. Kirk, take it away.
Thank you, Grindel, so much. Yesterday, I was emailed, hey, Kirk, what muse do you have? And I shared that. So, and it's true. And I put proof in the chat. So whoever's looking in the chat, there's a picture of that. I could have got myriad pictures, but only got that one. And also, I am the only Kirk Visola in the world. So that's another muse. There we go. To get to some business first, the opinions and views expressed by Kirk Visola are solely held by Kirk Visola. All artwork in this presentation belongs to its respective owners unless stated, and in no way are Kirk's views reflective of any company, family, person, corporation, and especially those of Letterform Archive. Mr. Visola also does not know all there is to know about comics or lettering or the combination thereof. This is meant to be a fun and hopefully educational presentation. So as I was introduced before, my name is Kirk Visola. Thank you so much, Letterform Archive, for having me here. I was really shocked when Grindel said, hey, do you want to do a presentation? What do you want to do it on? And I said, how about comic lettering? She said, great. And I thought, I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to make it happen. So my company is named Mind the Font. It is a full service branding and design packaging agency. And the cool thing about that is I was on a mission to get a name for that company. And my wife and I were in England and we kept hearing Mind the Gap, Mind the Gap. And Miriam, my wife, finally said, just call it Mind the Font. I just wanted to let you know that she's really good or better than me at this stuff, kind of at naming things, but also that I'm better than you because I went to Europe. No, I'm kidding. That's totally a joke. I have 26 years of experience. And as you see behind me, is all lettering that I've done over the past 3 decades almost. God, that's a long time. But I really am into type. And I really love what we're doing. And I'm so excited to be here. Actually, I'm nerve-sighted. So nervous and excited. It's my word. I'm trademarking it.
Kirk, right. You ready to share your screen?
Oh, that would be great.
Do it.
Yeah. So let's start over. No, I'm kidding. I blame Nikita Prokhorov for this. He's the one that told me not to share my screen. If you have any problems or concerns, go see Nikita Prokhorov, okay? So this is the picture I was talking about. Yes, that is me, and that is my mug. I love that mug to death, and I've been doing this for a long time. Blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. You've caught up. Now here we go. So the name of this is Holy Comic Lettering Batman. And for those of you who don't know, this is a Robin from the 1966 Batman television show, and he was played by Burt Ward. And it was fun, filled with tons of onomatopoeias and just cheesy, super cheesy. This is the title for my talk, but it will not just be all about Batman as much as I would like for it to be. And I hope we'll cover a whole gamut of the history of lettering and have some fun along the way. Also, it's going to be interactive, so you can use the chat mainly through pop quizzes and answer any questions. There are no prizes except for the fact that you know something, so congrats. These will see how well you've been paying attention. So that's me. Check out that dude, right? 8-year-old me. And I can remember this day so vividly. I remember I found this random pair of swim goggles, and why did I put those on? Could be the ADHD, but whatever. I'm straddling a tricycle that's already too small, and I was just zipping around. and having fun and pretending I was Spider-Man saving the day. And I was just having a great time. And today, if I were to tell that 8-year-old me, hey, one day you're going to name your kids Lex and Logan after 2 comic characters, Lex Luthor and Wolverine, be creating art that people would love, and be giving a talk about the lettering in comics, he would have been super excited. He also would have been confused because Peter Parker is clearly the best superhero name because of Spider-Man. Come on. And in some ways, I still try to hold on to that kid, even through the eyes of a judgmental older cynic. And I often think back on this moment in time and realize that some of my favorite memories were centered around imagery and type. And one of those memories comes from when my mom would take me to the grocery store. Whenever we would go, I would often ask to go to the toy section. And the toy section was literally right across from the gift cards. I remember staring at the 5-foot section of toys and thinking, oh, these gift cards are neat, and spend the rest of my time looking at those. And I think that came from my mom reading to my brothers and myself. Sorry, my brothers and me. And one of my favorites was The Elephant's Child by Rudyard Kipling. And my mom would read this book, which took place on the very edge of the great gray, green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees. We said that so much, it's committed to my brain. No matter where you are, if you ask me, I'll repeat that back to you. But the cool thing was is that she used different voices for all of the characters. And one of my favorite parts was when the Elephant's Child would say,
"Let go, you're hurting me."
it was "let go, you're hurting me," but it came out "let go, you're hurting me," right? Now, you see, he had a stubby little trunk and it wasn't fully developed like the other elephants. And as a satiable child, he would ask questions. The two have nothing to do with each other, except that on this particular question asking day, a crocodile got a hold of his nose. Normally, the satiable elephant would have just got spanked for asking questions, and it was all because he had a satiable curiosity. I mean, he did get revenge on those people once, all the animals. Once his nose was stretched out by the alligator. Jesus, Mom, this book's terrible. Like, why were you reading this to me? Spanking a child for asking questions? Some type of little hint from me or something like that? But I then realized that it wasn't the book that I loved. It was my mom's passion reading it and telling all the different silly stories and everything else that went along with it and the voices. And really all that graphic design is imagery and type. And since this is a comic lettering presentation, I would love for you to meet Rudolf Topfer. I hope I'm saying that right. He's Swiss. It's close enough, but he's the OG Mr. T. And this is a self-portrait Mr. T did in 1840. I mean, look at this dude. This is the self-portrait of a guy who doesn't take himself seriously and knows that he's cool. Like, bruh has the edge of the nose glasses thing down to get a better view. Style, nailed. He probably is the one who started this trend, and I'm not sure if that's the case, but he is definitely the gentleman who was credited with giving us our first comic strip. He was a school teacher that loved doing characters so much that he went on to publish, I'm going to butcher this, Histoire de Mon Vabois, or Les Amours de Monsieur Vabois. Sorry, French, every other language is bad. I speak English and bad English. So he published this in 1827 in Geneva, Switzerland. And it was later released in the US, and the title was changed to, hold on for this. This is the best title ever. The Adventures of Obadiah Oldbuck. That's so great. I mean, it's so good. And it's really good because alliteration often happens in comics. I mean, you have like Lex Luthor, Peter Parker, Lois Lane, Lana Lang, Betty Boop, Beetle Bailey, Otto Octavius, Jane Jonah Jameson, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Bruce Wayne. Okay, Bruce Wayne doesn't belong on this, but he is Batman. Batman. All right. Now, I took some screenshots of the cover along with other pages, and I got that from archive.org. It's amazing. Go there if you ever want to find anything book-wise. Most of the time, it's probably there. And there were some 190 pages in this book. So did I look through all of the pages? No. But did I understand some of them? Also, no. However, I did appreciate the composition as well as the means of me to be able to tell a story about each one of these. So if you hold on, I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll interpret these for you. So in the first graphic, you see him waving to a maiden. Hello, lady. How are you? I'm going to look sexy and lean on this tree. Now I'm going to go home and pout in my bedroom, crying to myself. So that's the first comic. Second comic, oh, I'm so bored. I'm going to read a book. No, I'll play the cello. Oh, this boredom is going to kill me. But the coolest thing about this is if you notice the intricate details of all the little scriggles and scribbles and swivels, but and also the type, the actual handwritten font in the bottom, what he did, it's someone just writing and strewing along, but it was just mainly to tell the story. And here he is again. Fair maiden, will thou help me move a couch? No? Fine, I'll find someone else then. And he walked off. Okay. And this one, he's getting dressed early in the morning to go drag his favorite horse up a hill, only to find that the horse itself needed food. I don't get it, but look at the intricacies of these. And this is my favorite. Brian number 1. Hello there. Why are you taking that man? He has a crazy hot head. It's just a rabbit head I found. What are you talking about? It's a crazy hat man. But in the background here is the best. Hey guys, it's okay. He's with us. Right? And the last but not least, I have no idea, like even trying to figure this out. He's climbing into a chimney only to be surprised by Santa Dog and then to fall into a lantern. I'm still perplexed by this, but I don't know. Okay. But this itself was an intro and frame to the pop culture of comics that grew with time, and to love more than my greeting cards was the comic section. Okay. A comic strip is a sequence of drawings in boxes that tell an amusing story, typically printed in a newspaper or comic book. Now, growing up, the Sunday newspaper was the coolest thing we had to Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, PBS Kids, etc. It was just a strip of comics. So it was comics that were placed next to, like, during the week, black and white, next to the classifieds or obituaries, and would be hidden in the newspaper. And for those of you who don't know what a newspaper is, I'm sorry. It's okay. You don't have to. But on Sundays, they would have entire section of just the comics. And it was great because that was all I could think about during the week, was seeing the comic section. And I don't remember what else was in the Sunday paper except for the comics, like For Better or Worse, Garfield, Beetle Bailey, The Wizard of Oz, Blondie, The Wizard of Id, Blondie, and Peanuts, to name a few. But this was my favorite dude right here. That's Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. He was drawn, lettered, and written by Bill Watterson. It was a story of a boy with a wild imagination who did the standard rambunctious getting into trouble from boredom or curiosity. And his stuffed cat would come alive when no one else was around. It was the creme de la creme of the comic section, and it was more than a comic. It was a new artistic experience every Sunday. Watterson would paint a magical, fun-filled world. Jesus, he didn't paint worse. With his guy and his little kid and his stuffed tiger. And I always thought to myself, what would Bill do? And he was very critical, Watterson was, of the format for the Sunday comic strip when he began, mainly because of how tight and strict it was. There was no malleability or anything like that. And I'll show you what I mean. So this is one of examples of one of his strips. And typically it consists of 2 to 3 rows and 8 to 12 total squares. And when they're published, they take up half of a page when formatted differently. And some newspapers were restricted for their Sunday features and would reduce the size of the strip. And one of the common ways was to cut the top 2. Okay, so there's 12 pages, there are 12 panels, and you would cut these top 2. And so we're calling this 1 and 2, this 3 and 4 here. And this is a 12 example of it. And you'll notice that the strip would be reformatted, split, and even lose or panels to comply with the standards that were there from the comics. So as I was saying, these are the ones that will get cut from the red, right? Okay. And then when you notice it, it goes to a quarter of a page. All right. Now the format fits this one. You can see all the panels are there in this format. Now, if you were to go to a third of a page, this one loses those first 2 panels. So it reformats to help the page layout for the comic. And the half page. still reformatted, but you have all the panels there. So Waterson's like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to publish what I want to publish. If you guys want to run it, fine. If you don't, you don't have to. And this is what he would come up with. Now, this blew my mind seeing it. This beautiful composition, few words, and showing a story through one panel of Calvin and Hobbes riding in the wagon, right? It's great. And then also he kept doing it. And this is any printer's nightmare, right? Like, especially newspaper, that full bleed of black and those white specks. How hard was that with registration? But you look at this and it just tells stories. And this is another panel. I can go through this all day if I don't want to, because then you get to other stuff. Here's examples of onomatopoeias, which we'll get into later, which is going to be very fun. And also another onomatopoeia. I can't even say that. And my wife was getting on me. Onomatopoeia. If we could all say it together and have a chant, and you can help me out later. All right. Then also you have just the ramblings of a kid's head, right? The 3 turns into a pterodon or a pterodactyl, and the brontosaurus is a 2. And the teacher's asking, 3 + 2, Calvin? Right? It's just brilliant. And this one's pretty funny because his imaginary cat steals his blanket. So then he goes to his parents' bed and steals his dad's blanket. So it's just this type that, or the imagery that works so well across here. And everything is always so different and random. And this one, he pretends he's been abducted by an alien to come back. And his mom is like, nah, man, put you upstairs in your room. And finally, last but not least, Spaceman Spiff was his alter ego. Anytime he would be in space, it would be Spaceman Spiff. And as he's daydreaming through the cosmos, he's interrupted by the pink and purple monster, which was his teacher. Calvin, you need to pay attention. So he decides to pay attention for about a second and then goes back to daydreaming. Now, why am I mentioning Bill Watterson? Because there was times when I would read this and I had no idea what I was looking at really when I saw his work. But it was him that made me rediscover my love for comics. It piqued my curiosity in pictures and type once again, but mainly type and its impact. Now, the obsession with lettering and drawing logotypes for comics and doing lettering drawings for my class at school started at a young age. I mean, I would draw Optimus Prime or a football logo mark. Being in California, I'd always draw the S and F because you had like Joe Montana and everybody else. But it was a Spider-Man logo and it all just went together really well. And I wish I had some examples of the stuff I did because it was really fun and really awful. And even though this talk is about the evolution of comic lettering, the imagery is what often would draw me in. Sorry, pun intended. And as you can tell, once again, Nikita Prokhorov is doing that. So, Bill, if you are watching this or listening to this, you are a marvel amongst us mere mortals. Pop quiz number 1. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, folks, are you ready? What is the average wingspan of a sparrow? I'm kidding. Which comic characters did Kirk name his twins after? Oh, do people know? If you know my kids. I'm sure you know. But if you guessed, great. But if you got the right answer, it would be Logan and Lex. Logan is Wolverine. He's an X-Men mutant. His powers are regeneration. Not regeneration, but healing powers. He doesn't have regeneration. That's Deadpool. He heals himself, and his name is Logan. And then Lex Luthor has a 12th level intellect. He's the smartest person, or one of the smartest people in the DC universe. So, okay. All right. As I take a sip from my water, as I was told to by my wife, because she's a speech therapist and says I need to drink, I will do so. All right. All caps. No, this isn't angry text or social posts from unhinged people, but I am saying this twofold. 1, Daniel Dumoulin, aka Victor Vaughn, aka JJ Doom, aka Mad Villain, aka Metal Face, but mainly known as MF Doom, was my favorite rapper of all time. And he used this likeness of Fantastic Four's main villain, Dr. Doom, anytime he performed. And like Dr. Doom, MF Doom always wore a mask, and he always said all caps was the manner in which he wanted to be addressed. Some say it was because Dr. Doom from the comics used all caps, but all comics use all caps. Now, there's going to be exceptions and variances, but if you were to pick up a comic out in a store anywhere, a newer comic especially, it's all going to be capitalized. And twofold, it's another way to say, put some respect on my name. Now, here's Dr. Doom on some various covers of Fantastic Four. You can see the use of all caps on the cover, also the shapes and containers and the different type in which was set for specific rules and sizes for these comics. And look at all the different variations. You have the Thing versus the Hulk on the bottom here, the Shadow of Dr. Doom, Meet Dr. Doom. And this was all hand done by various comic letterers, which we'll get into. But look at this Fantastic Four logo type lockup. It's just great. Man, that's so nice. Oh, so iconic, but all right. So to understand some nuances of type, it's good to know the proper nomenclature and structure for most lettering. This shows the variation of type for each letter form as well as similarities between each. So you have terminals and counters, ascenders and descenders and their lines. And you have bowls and necks and ears. Oh my! And I almost forgot the most important thing of type. The tittle! Yes, that is a real word. And if I'm giggling, it's because I'm a 49-year-old child. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. But anyway, okay. So here's the alphabet in the typeface Helvetica. Now, I said typeface because technically that's correct. The typeface is a specific name of a letter form being used. A font refers usually to a specific size and a specific weight of type. Now, that's how I've been taught. However, for all intents and purposes, I'll say font. And if you say font and someone corrects you, they're just being pretentious and trying to pretend like they know it all. So don't even worry about it. Right. For one, the reason why all caps is being used too is the shape. Now, if you look at these B, C, D, E, O, P, you notice that the lowercase letters all have a very similar oval shape to them. So whenever things were being printed, they could have been bogged up or clotted up or, muddied up by too much ink hitting the page. Now that's not really a problem, granted, with the new technology and things of that nature. So that wouldn't be an issue. Okay. Now, line heights. You have the cap height on top, and then you have the lowercase. Now, the lowercase is an infusion of the X height and the cap height and all these other things and stuff, but it's really not consistent as much as a all caps height, right? So this slide shows two sentences. One's all caps and one's mixed case, right? Or sorry, sentence case. And the spacing between those two lines is identical. The reason why they seem like it's further apart is because of the ascenders and descenders on this line. So the spacing's identical, it just seems further apart. Now you take a look at this, the all caps format. You can use a thinner font and take up way less room and still hold eligibility, right? So once again, I write the sentence, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and it's much more condensed and still legible even with the thinner font. Now, we're talking about people who do letters. That is called a letterer, right? And as a member of a team or comic book creators responsible for drawing a comic book's text. The letterers use typefaces, calligraphy, letter size, and layout all contribute to the impact of the comic book reading experience. And if it seems as if I am reading this slowly and dramatically, I am, because I have to talk for an hour. Sorry. But no, this is really cool because oftentimes the comic artists, the strip artists will do their own lettering, but sometimes with major publications like DC or Marvel, you would see consistent letterers working on things from time to time. And one of those was Todd Klein. Todd Klein worked for DC, and he worked from the 1970s forward, and he did some of the most famous and iconic comic pieces like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Frank Miller and Dave Mazzucchello's Batman Year One, and Supreme by Alan Moore. But just to show his prowess and what an amazing letterer this dude is, I'm going to highlight one thing, and it's just the epitome of lettering. This game called Go Freelance. He highlights this on his website, Todd Klein's website, and I actually got a copy because it's just amazing. But Sean McManus was the illustrator, and they wanted to have some type of really cool 50s retro comic strip done that's also a game. So when it comes, I'm going to force my wife to play this. And we never, well, I shouldn't say we never play games, but I'm definitely playing this game. Okay, yeah, it's really cool. But now back to the lettering. Now, this is a panel from Terry and the Pirates circa 1939. And you will notice the common height between the letters. The cap or X height is similar, right? The cap height or X height is similar. Cap height. Why am I saying this multiple times? I don't know. It might be in the quiz. But I also love the attempt of the vernacular of this, right? Like the villain, scary villain. Hypnotize. Hypnotize. All right, no. Here's some more examples from back in the day. You have Buck Rogers, Lil Abner, Alley-Oop, and Terry and the Pirates. Now, I took some common letters between them, M's and B's. And what's great about this is no matter what, you're not going to mistake these for different letters, but they're all done so differently. I mean, these two M's have a couple flare outs. You have the double bowls, which are different on all the B's. This is more symmetrical. This is a little bit heavy balance, but they're all pretty much the same, and you would not mistake those for anything, right? Now, this is why I put together all different fonts. Some are hand lettered, some are digital, but I'm going to go through each one from top left and see what I can remember. I didn't cheat, I promise. I just remember these. This is from Captain America because it says Captain America, and I'm smart. Okay. 2. This is Blondie. This one I don't know. This is Dick Tracy because the hat's a giveaway. This one is Marvel something or other because Mr. Fisk, which is Kingpin. This one is not able to be seen because my video's in the way. And I don't know what this one is. Hulk, Calvin and Hobbes, Spider-Man, that one with that dude Archie, Peanuts. This is Doomsbury. Don't know this one. Dennis the Menace, For Better for Worse, Pearls Before Swine, The Wizard of Id, Family Circus. I don't know this one. This one's a cat. Heathcliff. No, I'm kidding. That's Garfield. Beetle Bailey, Zitz, Pickles, Hagar the Horrible, my friend Deborah, her favorite mutts, Frank and Ernest, and this one was done by Todd Klein from The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. So look at that. I win my own prize. Now here are some examples. Here are some examples of comics that I saw all the time growing up, and the various uses of color and the treatment of the fonts and thickness. But these are hand done. This one is digital on the far right. The one on the left is one of my favorites. It's called Weapon X, and it's about Wolverine or Logan. And it goes through his history and how he became Weapon X. And you'll see like a little slight hint of a subtle onomatopoeia here. Oh, so great. We'll get to that in a little bit. But then in the next panel is Iron Fist. Now, Iron Fist, I remember seeing this when this must have came out in like the early 80s. Yep, 84. And I remember seeing this and thinking it was just so cool. Like he's whispering or talking crap behind Power Man's back, because Power Man didn't take no shit, right? Like he just did not take any shit off anybody. He's Luke Cage. And if you've seen the show, like it's pretty telling, right? But I remember this being so great. And then just the lovely bubbles and the users of type here. And this one, Cages. I drew this Silver Surfer and read this book so many times. He goes to a zoo and he notices all the animals are treated. At one point, he has to kill a tiger, but then he heals it. And this is really great. And the far right is Spider-Man. I do not know what that's from, but I know it's Spider-Man because they're calling him Peter. And as you know, I am Peter Parker's biggest fan from the 8-year-old boy. And then, of course, there are rules that always get broken. And if you make the rules, sometimes you can help break the rules. And on the left is Sandman by Neil Gaiman and Batman by Year One on the right. Both of these were done by Todd Quinn. Okay. And Dream is talking to Alianora about something, and you notice that when he talks, the bubble's different, the lettering's different, and it's meant to emote something. It's meant to give you an emotion. So there's various ways you can show emotion and action and things of that nature. And this is one of them. And on the right is Bruce Wayne on his first missions of becoming Batman. He isn't Batman yet, but he's journaling what he's going through. And the right shows the journal. Pop quiz number 2. Sorry, just getting some water. All right. What is the nomenclature for the capital letter height? You know what this feels like? This feels like one of those questions your teachers would ask you in school just to try to trick you and trip you up because it's too easy. Because the answer is in the question, and it is. It's the cap height. Yes, the cap height, the standard for which all lettering or most lettering is done in comic books. Okay, here we go. Back to Batman. It's the 1996 serial, and the introduction itself was animated. So you have here in the upper left, and bottom right, actual introduction of the show. And during the show, these larger biffs, lot, clinks, splats, runks, pows, they would all come in. All these onomatopoeias were used. That's right, Miriam. Onomatopoeia were used to show or emote something that happened, some type of action, right? So an onomatopoeia is the naming of a thing or action by a vocal imitation of the sound associated with it. Okay, now, here are some common onomatopoeias that we do every day, see every day, or might hear every day, right? Like buzz, ring, cough, crash. And I don't know if the mic will pick up what I'm saying if I cough or how, right? Meow, ring, up. I'm just going to sit here and make sounds all day, and I hope that's okay. For the next however long I'm doing this, it's just going to be sounds. I'm just kidding. I'm going to go through some more familiar ones, and when you see them, oh, God dog it, I always do this. I always skip to here, and I forget about this because this is so cool. Now look on the left. You have boom, and look at the way the lettering is handled. It's jagged, and it's random, and it's mad, and it's excited, and it's angry, and it's really making this whole page feel chaotic and powerful and expressive, all with type. This one's a little bit different. It's quiet, and there's interacting bangs, spat, bang, bang, right? The way that these letter forms are handled, they're all pretty similar. They're all fairly angular, so they show an action of what's happening. And this one is Power Man. I was telling you about this is why Iron Fist don't mess around with Pyro Man. You have grab, slam, stomp, slap, oof, right? And all the swinging and the emotions behind the lines, as well as the forming of the type, really plays into it so well. And on the right is Venom. And this is showing a complicated yet calculated onomatopoeia style where it's showing impact, it's showing movement, it's showing emotion, right? So wham is impact, thud is showing movement of him being thrown, and the emotion of him roaring, and the crunching and cracking of bones, and then the precision of things happening as well. So it's just the way that the lettering is all handled definitely emotes different things. Okay. Now, also with this, it keeps going. This is Spider-Man versus a Scorpion. So you see the thwop, rack, smack, and look at how these are curved to show movement as well. So just the whole line and movements is all graphic design stuff too. Your eye carries through. Brock, crack, thud. And then also it creates tension or anticipation, like with Iron Man's panel here. There's some movement happening, some emotion is crescendoing almost to the final impact of boom. Okay. Now this third one, this is Daredevil. This is the Man Without Fear. And Matt Murdock was blinded when he was little through a toxic chemical spill, but it gave him other powers enhanced, his other senses enhanced, and basically made him a superhero. So his hearing is off the chart. But if he can't concentrate or something happens to him, his hearing all just becomes noise. And you can see the subtlety here of the top panel of this page. Vroom, vroom, like it's very soft. And then it grows and he's just trying to figure it out. And the next thing you know, he's just enveloped by it, right? He's enveloped by it. The honk, the sound is just overpowering him. And this panel on the right I picked because it's just silly. It's almost like the 66 serial, Batman, right? And it's just these random clump, 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 and it's just oversaturated comically with these different panels. And then you get down here, he's crunching on peanut brittle, like crunch, 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 like he's being hit, but it's also he's crunching on peanut brittle. It's just funny because it's silly, right? And then you have all these different onomatopoeias happening that doesn't mean anything. Now, there are some that we use quite a bit, okay? And there's some that are just synonymous with what they are. I will highlight those. The first one, hiss. Hiss, right? Of course, it's a snake, but more specifically, Sir Hiss from the 1973 animated movie Robin Hood. Damn, that movie was great. Remember Prince John? Mommy, sucking his thumb, right? Oh, so good, right? Now buzz, buzz, right? Of course, you think of a bee, but more specifically, Pedro Chespirito, aka Bumblebee Man from The Simpsons. Okay, now this one, whoosh, whoosh. I feel like I'm teaching you how to speak. It's pretty fun, right? Of course, it's the famous turtle duo from Finding Nemo, Crush and his little dude Squirt, right? Crush and Squirt. That's what you think of, right? And let's just address the elephant, or should I say turtle, in the room. How do we not ever say that this dude's just high? I mean, this motherfucker high. Look at it. Santa Cruz high. But we just like, oh, cool. He's just a surfer. That's just how they are, right? And then Puff, right? Puff. When you see this, you think of Puff. You think of course, you think of Willie Nelson because he's Puff the Magic Dragon, right? And there are some sounds that are so synonymous with specific comic characters that when they're used, whenever you search them up, oftentimes their results will come up first. And let's get into those. Thwip, right? Thwip. Those who know. Okay. This is the sound thwip that Spider-Man's web makes. Whenever he's shooting his web, thwip. It's great. It's our favorite web hit, right? And they show various usages of it, like before. You see thwip, and it's usually stacked, or it comes out when his webbing comes out, goes across things, moves at angles, flip. That's just so cool, right? Now the next one, Bamf. That's badass mother. Shut your mouth. No, I'm kidding. Bamf is the sound that Nightcrawler, aka Kurt Wagner, right, makes. So here's different examples of him. So anytime he appears, Bamf, right? And it's how far can Nightcrawler Bamf? And there's always something about that's also cool about comics is comic lore. Like everybody has opinions on this is how it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to be. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. It's like, it's a comic. You can pretty much do anything. And so it's always how far can Nightcrawler Bamf, right? Like, can he Bamf a mile or two? Can he Bamf to different universes? Can he Bamf to the grocery store to pick up milk because he forgot it earlier? Like, that's the whole thing. How far can he Bamf? Okay. Now, this is a word that is strictly for Wolverine. Anybody who knows this is Wolverine. It's sneaked, like art. Sneaked. It's hard to do, but it's meant to be his claws coming out of his hands, right? This word is just synonymous. Anytime you look up this word, it's all him. It's just all Wolverine. There's no other mistaking it for anything else. If you type in Google, it's going to be Wolverine, right? And the reason why is because it is him. It is his brand. So much so that they decided to trademark it. They trademarked the word sneak because they could, and it is his word. And that's just so awesome. Like, it just shows how great branding is. My last name Visola is actually trademarked. So that's also something else you could think about. Okay. Pop quiz. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Pop quiz. You guys better get this, or I'm going to be very upset. What are the names of the father and son turtle duo? Okay. Crush and squirt, little man. Crush and squirt. Okay, I'm done. Sorry. All right, now back to me. That's me on the front, and we're talking about branding. We're talking about logo types and things of nature. And as you can see, that's Super Kirk. Okay, Birth of the Blurred. It comes from this Superman, and this is a lockup that was used by DC on most of their comics. The first edition on. Of course, there's always variances, but this is a common layout and link with the type curving up like this. And the one I did is super similar to the one they did. Damn you, Nikita. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, all right. Now, here are various lockups on covers everywhere, right? This is number 2 Superman. I don't know when this one was, but they're all with the same curved up font and type. And this is all hand done, but it's also neat because this really goes back into the idea of branding and how that familiarity with it lets you automatically know, oh, it's Superman. Okay. And even though sometimes it's used, and even in movies when it's used, I want to say that this movie from Richard Donner, he knew about this and was keeping this in mind, which is why it was flying, which is why he showed it flying. But that's just my opinion. But free to draw your own conclusions. That's my opinion. I'm going to stick to it. And I'm right. Damn it. Okay. But of course, also too, when you see these, there's variations of Superman, but these are the one-offs. Okay. And you know, Superman usually have his chest emblem or something with the S on the front, so you know it's him. All right. Now, the Green Lantern is not a mainstay of the DC universe, especially from a popularity standpoint. And when you say DC, you think about the Trinity. You think about Batman, you think about Wonder Woman, and you think about Superman. Those are the three that are the core of DC. But also too, when you look at this, there isn't any clear-cut GL logo. They're all different. And when I did a search for these, I just typed Green Lantern comic covers. I think I got 5 to 7 of these came up in the search for this, just because there's nothing consistent amongst them. But now, branding is so important, and I want to go back to the branding that started this all was the Batman logo, right? This is the Batman logo from the 1966 serial, and it's so cool because you can even see this almost looks like Adam West, who played Batman a little bit. This is his cowl and cape, right? The cape and cowl, that's what it is. And I'm gonna go to the next slide, and you can even see visions of the cowl and the A, and then the N's and the M, the T, the A here, and also this little serif on the end of the B also indicates that there's some form there, right? Now, Batman has tons of aliases. He's known as the Dark Knight, Bats, Pointy Ears, the Detective, B-Man, but most importantly, he is known as the Cape Crusader, right? That's Dark Knight's also one, but the Cape Crusader is what we're going to say. And what's evident is that it's apparent in all of these logos. Every single logo has a cape and cowl, cape and cowl, cape and cowl. Even when it's used with other comics, and we're going to go back, you see here, the symbol on top is the Batman Superman logo or insignia, but it has the cape and cowl. When it's used across the board, Batman and Robin, Batman with Robin, Gotham Knight, it's okay. Now I got a question for those of you who watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Is this not Stephanie Beatriz? Rosa Diaz, does that not look like Rosa Diaz? Were they copying her? Because it so looks like Rosa Diaz to me. But I'm sorry, AD moment. Squirrel. Okay, now here are various comics that I found with logo lockups that I was used to seeing delivered in this manner. The Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America, Marvel Secret Wars, Wolverine. So you can read and you can see them, but these are the way I was used to seeing them. So every week you would have the type and you would have knockouts of the character coming over the type, or claws going through, or Superman coming in front of, or Silver surfing in front of. It was so great to see the iteration and interconnection of the type and imagery working together. Now I pulled out some of those for you to look at, and seeing by themselves, it really shows the detail and touch that each one of these marks had. Like the rivets in Iron Man, those were all put in, right? The drop shadow lines for Superman, the incredible shadow and perspective done for this Marvel superheroes. And most of these, well, all of these, I believe, and I'll show you why, were done by hand except for this one, the Uncanny X-Men at the bottom right. Now, let's start with the obvious. Fantastic Four. Okay. I think this one's obvious. It's just me. But the big things that are the giveaways are the F's in the Fantastic, right? And Four. And also the A's. The bowls of the A and the counter are different. Like the shapes are different, right? So this is all hand tooled, hand done. Love it so much. All right. Next. Silver Surfer. Okay. This one's a little harder to tell, but with the bowls of the R's and the counters of the R's, as well as the crossbars of the E being a different size, you can tell. And then over here on the S, the S's are a little bit different from the curves and shapes. So all these little nuanced things are all hand done and just stood the test of time. Now it starts to get a little bit harder, okay? But there's a couple giveaways with this one. If you notice the S jotting out, the left side of the S jots out from the left side of the bottom part of it. So the top part jots out over the bottom part. And whenever you're making letters, well, in my experience, you don't have the S to do that because it doesn't work. And then here with the R, the straight down square as opposed to going with the angle of the R. And the drop shadow here is little things that are a bit different that don't work perspective wise for me. So this is definitely hand done. Now, this one's really difficult. Wolverine. I would have made this O a little bit thicker too, but that's just me. The crossbars and the E's aren't the same length and also aren't the same angle. And I didn't get into it, but they're a little bit different. And the drop shadow of the shapes, they don't match up as well either. Oh my gosh, mosquito, he's trying to get me. Freaking out. Squirrel. Okay, so Captain America, this logo was made in 1940, right? This came out in 1940. So if you look at this from cover to cover, it varies so much because you can tell it was hand lettered. But this one's so well done that it's really really difficult to tell. But I'm going to emphasize these two letters, these two A's, right? The A's in America. Now, if you look at them side by side, just at a glance, it's like, oh, yeah, they're the same. But I'll point out a few things that are a little bit easier to tell when you're looking at these. The counters of the A's, all right? I have them highlighted here on the left, but then overlapped and upscaled a little bit on the right. So you can see the difference in the A's here, right? So that's one way to tell. The next is the ascender, right? This is the thicker than this one. So the yellow and blue are a little bit different, a little bit thicker and thinner than each other, and those two, right? Now, this is what we're all used to seeing. These are the most recognizable things that anybody has. I don't own any of this stuff because I don't like owning that kind of stuff. Like, I think it's ridiculous to have this stuff around your house or whatever. But this is what's most recognized for us to look at and see. And when we don't even realize that we're looking at it, we've made these icons and we lose all the nuance, mosquito, of the actual type itself. Pop quiz. It's the last pop quiz, people. The last pop quiz, all right? The Caped Crusader is another name for whom? Whom? Batman. Batman. Okay, now this is a sketch. For those of you who know me, that I draw a lot, I sketch. And when I sit at restaurants, I sketch. So I got a mat and I drew this from like reference on my phone. And this is a Jim Lee drawing. He's the CCO of DC Comics. So I drew this, and this is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in the background. And I drew him. And I think I just left it there because oftentimes I just leave my sketches or throw them away because I don't like to think about them right now. This little dude right here, this handsome, stellar, chappy, dapper young man, would have been super proud of this presentation today. Do you know why? Because that's me, motherfuckers. That's me. And in the famous lines of Dora the Explorer, what was your favorite part today? Me too. Thank you guys so much for listening. That's it. Let's do some questions.
Amazing, Kirk. That was so great. Oh my God. And so funny.
Oh,
So
thank you.
funny. All right, people, we need some questions for this guy. Put
Oh,
them
boy.
in the Q&A. I will ask them out loud to Kirk, but I want to see some questions for this guy because he put in a lot of work on this presentation.
My poor
And
wife. I'd wake
his
up in the
poor
middle of the
wife.
night. She's like, what are you doing? I'm thinking about the presentation.
Oh my God. So listen, I have a question. I'm going to ask it now while we're waiting for everybody to put their questions in the Q&A.
There's a Q&A in the bottom of the screen, people.
Yeah.
Just put it in
Yeah,
there.
bottom of the screen, right down there. Big Q&A. Oh, I see a question. Okay, I'm gonna. Ooh, they're coming fast and furious.
Oh,
Let me
Jesus.
ask. I'm gonna ask them first, and then I'll hit you with my
Okay.
question, Kurt. Okay, so
Okay,
let's see.
okay.
What do we got? Okay, AJ Visuals asks, "What is the best version of Batman in your opinion?"
Oh, AJ. I think that's my kid. Turd bucket. Hi, AJ. So if you're thinking the best Batman of all time, it's Kevin Conroy. I don't care. It's Kevin Conroy, hands down. Kevin Conroy was the voice of the Batman animated series and several various Marvel movie or DC animated movies as well. But if I were to rank them from the actual Batman, I like Christian Bale and Michael Keaton. And then I like Ben Affleck too. If you guys want to come at me, but Kevin Conroy is Batman, just like Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Okay, great question. Let's see. All right, I see some people putting questions in the chat. Please put them in the Q&A. I'm talking to you, Rohit. Okay. Nikita asks, which comic book character do you identify with the most? Ooh.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Mm.
Whichever comic characters feel within, probably, I'd say Cringer
Cringer.
from He-Man. He was the cowardly lion. He is. He was always scared about everything. Yeah. Oh wait, right, real quick. I see here. I'm just in the panels reading. Brahm Mahan. It says, would have been nice to get credits for the letterers and designers at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I put that there's people who are not going to be recognized, but they belong to them. I did like 2 or 3 things in this, but the rest I just pulled offline. So I'm not going to go through and find all that stuff. I'm not claiming that it's mine. And if there's specific things in there, I will say it's mine. So just to clear that up. So thanks, Brown.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Kirk agrees. Okay. But isn't about to go adding titles to everything. I mean, that'd be tons of research, right? I can't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So Brandon asks, what are some reasons to use lettering over comic fonts and vice versa? And yeah.
Okay, so with it all depends on what it is. Now with the advancement of type, and this is how I've understood it, and there's people on here who know way more than me, so I'm gonna say what I know. Speed is a reason to go with like actual typefaces, and there's so many typefaces that look very similar to people who did this for a living for years. Like Todd Klein's lettering, if you were to look at it, you'd have to look very carefully and closely to know that he hand lettered it because he's that good. So there's fonts that are done after this, and it's just much quicker for them once it's drawn, and they're able to put in the bubbles and the speech bubbles and top bubbles and onomatopoeias and things of that nature. But even oftentimes the impact from hand lettering, you're able to control it more, like that panel of the boom, 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 right? Like that's all hand lettered. But expediency mainly is digital, like not digital, but a typeface as opposed to it being hand done. I hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. But like I said, that's my understanding.
I'm not spelling onomatopoeia correctly. I just put it whatever here, and you guys can figure it out.
Yes.
I mean, I was a B champion, but fortunately, they didn't ask me that. So yeah.
Yes. I think there's a K in there somewhere.
Silent K. It's a silent K. Okay,
yes.
Let's see. Daniel, thank you guys for all these questions. I asked for questions. Now we got 12. So now it's time to start upvoting questions you want to see answered. Okay, folks. All right. Daniel asks, would you know how hand lettering is matched when translating comics to other languages?
I have no idea. I mean, that's a great question. You should do some research and get back to me on that, because I don't know. That's really good question.
And that seems like a really good question. Like sometimes, because some languages have many more words or longer words, and it just seems like, oh my god.
Right. And sometimes too in comics they will put in there, it's everything's in English, but they'll asterisk it and like italicize it and it says it in the language. Then on the bottom in the italic, like the footnote, it says Arabic language or spoken in whatever language it is. So it highlights it in the actual strip, and then on the bottom it will say what it is being spoken. So I don't know if that helps, but
no, that's cool. That's cool. In the chat, I see Ileana Granado says, I've seen a lot in Spanish and they look very similar.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Ileana. Yeah.
Okay, Gabby Z asks, I would like to know, how did this research happen? If we want to see more, is there anything you can recommend to us? And that is a great question. Like,
yes.
Are there books? Are there websites? Is there anything you can put in the chat for us to further our research?
A lot of the stuff, just Todd Klein. Todd Klein is a encyclopedia of knowledge. I went there for a lot of things, but then also just typed in, like, when was the first comic produced? And I just did research off there and just drug things in and put it in here. But mainly Todd Klein was a lot of my information for this topic. And then the other thing too is just looking of my own experience with the Sunday comics and who I really liked and enjoyed. And that was more so of my love for comics rather than actual historic or patent down facts, or these are the right things to do. It's just me observing and then figuring out as to why.
Yeah, I wonder if there are some books that have been written on this. Maybe it's time, Kirk, to write that book.
Oh no, there's tons of books on this. There's tons of information. And another one's called Bombblot. I'll look, but I think it's called bombblot.com, toddklein.com. But if you type it in, it'll come up with all kinds of information.
I see that Jesse Kahn has Jesse's one of our Type West students this year. And Jesse has dropped kleinletters.com into the chat for people to look up. So
he is so good. Oh, and Blambot.
Susanna's put Blambot. Okay,
there
good.
You go.
Thank
all
you.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for
good job, everyone. Look at this. See? Teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
What are we even doing here? We should just go take a nap or something. This is like the chat's handling itself. Okay, let's see. Shannon Avinia asks, what are your favorite non-comic lettering styles? Maybe your favorite fonts? I don't know. You got something for us?
Non-comic lettering styles. I do like calligraphy, like old Gothic styles or hand-done lettering of that nature. but there's also like certain artists that I really like to look at. One of my favorite artists that does lettering is Vic Lee. Um, he's out of the UK, Vicelee, and he does full on murals and he mixes in illustrations. So it is kind of comic-y, but also he has like a lot of different lettering styles. As far as fonts go, I use Proxima Nova a lot. Avenir. I guess I'm kind of a boring sans serif guy.
Yeah.
Montserrat, Helvetica. Yeah, I'm a boring sans serif guy, I guess. So, but yeah, and also too, I've been lettering since I was little, and I didn't know I was lettering. So like in that picture I shown of all the lettering behind me, that's all hand done by me, and I just sketch. I sketch out letters and stuff. So I don't have a particular style, but I do tend to go simpler because it's just easier for my brain to process, and then ad lib from there. And I'm sorry if that doesn't answer the question, but yeah.
No, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, Arias Camila asks, what would you say are the biggest pros and cons of standardized lettering typefaces in comics? Then we see Bruno chimes in saying basically cost, but maybe there's something else that you can add.
I don't know. I really don't see any cons with the uppercase lettering from that standpoint. Um, just because it's the easiest thing to read, it's proven to be the most compact and you can handle the most information. Granted, it feels like it's lettering or yelling, but also too with accessibility. Sometimes it may be harder for people to read all caps for those who may have a visual impairment or is deciphering of that stuff. So a lot of those things come into account. But the one thing I do love about it though is that it's it's expected. It's actually more of like the actual comic itself. So when you do have onomatopoeias like splashed in or different things splashed in, those stand out, right? Those pop off the page. So if you had different fonts and stuff, I think that's a possibility to make it work in certain instances, like with Sandman and the examples I've shown with like when Dream's talking, it was like ethereal and black and lowercase and it felt haunting almost. And the rest of it was very simple. So that itself acts like part of the picture, part of the experience, almost like its own written onomatopoeia, so to speak.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. So let's see. Oh boy, Justin. Okay, since Spider-Man, Justin asks, since Spider-Man is your favorite,
Was my favorite.
ooh,
Yeah, was.
which of his comic story arcs was your favorite? I gotta say was. He said is, but I'm saying okay. So Spider-Man. First of all, we want to know what happened to Spider-Man. How did he fall from grace? And then also,
Well,
what
okay,
was your
so
favorite story arc?
my favorite story arc was when one of them, I don't know if it was an arc, but one of my favorite comics was in there, and it was from Secret Wars, where he basically breaks into the X-Men's headquarters and just takes them all out one by one. And then he ends up passing out because he doesn't know someone can fly. So he tries saving her, but then he ends up passing out and they take care of him and things that necessary. I don't know any specific story arcs. And but the fall from grace was the 1992 Batman animated series. Just made me fall absolutely in love with Batman and that style, and like I just became a huge Batman fan after that. Yes, of course, I'm rooting for the rich white billionaire, so that's great. That always makes me feel really good. But no, man, like my signature on my on my ID is the bat symbol. Like that's my official signature is the bat symbol. So if you ever see it, that's me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, let's see how Anonymous says, how hard is it for you not to notice the quirks of hand lettering?
Impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
It's impossible. It's to the point where if I see something done, I'm trying to find nuances. I'm trying to see like oh no, that's digital. Oh, that's hand lettered. The best thing is watching old films, and I'm talking like black and white films in like 1910 to 1930, like because a lot of those opening panels were done on film sheet or like clear, and they were all hand lettered. Every single one. If you look at them and you go through and look and you pause it, you can see the discrepancies in letters, and it's just gorgeous, and it took so much time, and it's so pretty. And then at a certain point they were just using like standard fonts on and typefaces on whatever, but earlier on you could see how they painted and hand lettered stuff. And it's really hard not to notice. And also too, like, go ahead.
No. Keep going.
I was gonna say with like Netflix, and I look at the horrendous display of just type layout in general and fonts, but then sometimes you get one that like, oh, that's pretty cool, and it stands out because it's either hand lettered or they took time to tool it. Not everything has to be hand lettered, but I think if you're making like a one-off of something like with your brand, I think you should take some time to tool it and make sure that it's customized for whoever you're doing it for, right?
Yeah, no, excellent point. I mean, the amount of time you put into something is always going to show, right? So if you do a cheap one-off with a typeface you just downloaded off the internet, it's, you're going to notice that. I did have a follow-up to that, which is I just saw the 1922, 23, I forget, version of Nosferatu, the first Nosferatu, and what you described, those little the title, what are they called when the
credits? I would call them credits.
Well, it wasn't the credits; it's
opening
something
credits
or another. Because they didn't have, it wasn't a talking film, it was a silent film. So they had like whenever something was needed to be explained, interstitials. Thank you, Sarah, for pointing that out. Sarah Rosinski knew the word I was looking for, interstitials.
That's because Sarah's smart.
I was like, I wanted to go back and look at those because they came on the screen, they popped right off, and I was like, is that hand done? Or is it an old typeface, or is that something that was done later in the style of the old typeface? So I still have to look that up, but it was beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Wow, we got 9 more questions. We have about 9 more minutes, so let's go, folks. Brandon, are you the one who kept cheating? I can't remember. On the questions, Brandon asks, artists are subject to writer's block like anyone else. So as an artist, how do you break out in those moments of blockage? And then question number 2, who does your hair?
That's okay. I was like, Brandon, I know Brandon. Brandon's a really good friend. I do my own hair, Brandon, my own stylist. For me, it's there's not, I don't have artist block when it comes to that, like drawing and creating. The one time I do have artist block is when I'm working on something and I put too much pressure on myself. That's when that's why I don't draw that much, like for myself. I will draw things if I'm not thinking about it. If I know I'm gonna throw it away, or if I don't really care, I'm just gonna have fun with it. Otherwise, I'm overthinking it and trying to do too much. So if that ever happens, that block, I just say fuck it and go for it and do my own thing. I don't even I just draw and sketch or whatever. But I never feel like blocked, right? And I have no. This will sound very narcissistic, but I don't have a limit to my creation. I feel like if I have time, I can create anything, and if I have time and I have focus, I can create anything. So there's not a lot of quote unquote blocks there.
Yeah,
and you know what, Brandon? That was a stupid question.
Oh, Brandon. Yeah, no, I don't think it's narcissistic. I think that's true for almost anyone. What we need is time and focus, and we just don't get enough of that in this modern world. We're so distracted by everything. But if we each had plenty of time and focus, oh my God, can you imagine what we would do?
Yeah, right.
Rohit asks, apropos Daniel's question about localization, is AI changing the ability to copy the lettering styles, hopefully for good, in translating works across languages and character sets?
I'm not an expert on AI. I have no idea. But if we're able to help people translate more quickly and actually pick up the proper dialect and vernacular and slang, I guess that would be good. Um, I do think there's something to be said because there's things that are already being digitalized. Like I said, like there's already types being used for comics now. So that's probably the next evolution or step. But I think you still need people in there to be able to make sure that it's said properly or the line breaks happen properly. Because I know like in certain like with Cantonese or Mandarin, if you have the characters there, the lettering, and you break it in wrong spots, it doesn't read. It's like it's mess. And I did that a couple of times when I was doing translation. They're like, you can't do that because it doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, like this is how it has to break. And so they showed me how. So will AI have that ability? I'm sure it will someday. It's progressing, and hopefully it does help with certain parts of it. But I don't know about doing it completely because I think you're still always going to need that human interaction or touch. It will help with expediency, I'm sure, but as far as the actual accuracy, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, good question. And I'm not an AI guy. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Yeah. I'm going to stick my quick question in here, which is, how does the division of labor work in comics, or how did it work? Like, was there
Oh,
somebody who like came up with the idea, somebody else does the sketches, then somebody else goes in and refines the sketches, and then where are the onomatopoeias coming in? Like, if it says "bam," is that saved for the letter, or does the illustrator do that?
usually there's a story that's written, so you have a writer, and then from there the writer gives to the illustrator. This is how I understand it. You have the writer, you have an illustrator, you have a penciler, and you have an inker, and you have a colorist. That's usually how it works. So the writer writes the story, the penciler, the person drawing it, figures out the scenes, and they work with the writer like, hey, this is what I want on panel one, panel two, and they work on it that way. The inker or the letterer is the person who goes in and puts the bubbles in the right spots and says all this stuff. Um, and then the inker goes through and inks the whole thing. Like they take a black ink and just ink the entire thing. And then that gets colored. Then it gets scanned and made into a book. That's how I understand it from my stuff. I wish my friend John was here. He could really tell you because he actually publishes comics. But there's several people involved in writing it, usually. Sometimes in the case of Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith, he did, I think he did the inking, the lettering, the inking, the drawing, the inking, the coloring, and the story. I think he did some lettering, but not all. I couldn't find that information because I was trying to, but that's an example of some person that does the whole thing. Frank Miller is another person that does his own story and drawing, and then he has letterers. And I'm not sure about its inking, but yeah, there's usually 4 or 5 people involved in processes like that.
I mean, just thinking about the labor involved is actually pretty intense,
Yeah,
and then having to plan it out like, okay, we're going to have somebody saying something, a little bubble. How big is that bubble going to be? How much are they
yeah,
going to say? And how
yeah,
much, is there editing involved? And I mean, you know, it's one of
yeah,
those little things that you take it for granted when you're a little kid, you're reading the comics, and then you start thinking about it, like, damn,
yeah,
that's a lot of work.
yeah,
And probably a team of people working on it too, right?
yeah. And it is, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Anonymous asks, 80s cartoon question. Thundercats, Gummy Bears, or Dragon's Lair?
Thundercats. It's a silly
Okay.
question. That's a silly question. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Anonymous. No, I really loved Thundercats. Gummy bears dancing here and there and everywhere. I remember that. There's gummy bears. Oh man, 80s cartoons were the
Mm,
best. But yeah, Thundercats for
okay.
sure. Lionel
Okay.
and Pin and Team best. But
Nikita already butted in and said Thundercats without a doubt.
oh, that's my
Yeah.
boy Nikita. And you
Eh,
guys, I was making poking fun at Nikita, but Nikita is truly one of the. If you guys want to see some cool shit, go to Nikita's stuff. Nikita Prokhorov, his work is amazing. He's one of the best letterers out there. Badass.
Okay, hang on,
Yeah.
because I've been trying to corral Nikita into giving us a letter form lecture, like this one today,
Yeah.
on his cool ambigrams. And,
Oh,
come on, Nikita. Public
Nik-
pressure on you right now. Yeah.
Nikita is truly one of the best out there. Like, no question. I thought I had his book up there, but no,
Oh,
he's amazing. And
okay.
and I know we're running up on time, but if
Yeah.
anyone's listening, if you ever want to reach out. I'm the only Kirk Visola, so type it in and hit me up. And if we have more questions, I'll be happy to take them or whatever. But
We do. Do you want to drop your contact info in the chat? I mean, it sounds like I think I'm the only Grendel Lofquist too, so maybe
I'm
we
the
have
only
that in
Kirk
common.
Visola. Just type in Kirk Visola and find me.
Okay.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to type it in just because they might spell your name wrong and get somebody
Yes.
else and then start asking them questions
Right.
about comics and who knows what might come up.
Perfect.
Get in touch. Okay, there we go.
All
Now you
right.
can see if I spelled your name right or not.
That
Okay,
is correct.
we got time for a couple more questions here, which is good. We have a few more. So upvote the ones you want to see answered because we don't have that much time. Okay, we already answered your question, Alan, about AI impact on comics and fonts. Let's see what else do we have here? Bridget Ryan asks, "What's your favorite onomatopoeia?"
Okay, shout out to Bridget Ryan. That's my coworker at the aquarium. She is the sweetest person. I love you, Bridget. Thanks for tuning in. Favorite onomatopoeia? Damn, it's tough. I think boom,
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 boom.
because it sounds like sounds cool. It's a round. It's said different ways. Boom, like boom, boom. Right? I like it.
It is. I like it round. I like that.
Yeah,
It's round.
yeah,
It's kind of
yeah,
final. It's like
yeah.
boom, boom,
Boom,
right?
boom. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah. I'll go with that.
yeah.
And then so Kevin puts bam in. Kevin
Bam.
like
Okay,
that.
bam
Oh,
works too.
bam.
Bam,
Bam's good.
bam, boom. Boom
Yeah,
sounds more
boom.
authoritative.
Yeah,
Boom.
authority. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam is good, but boom is more authoritative. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Last question here. We got two more questions. Maybe we can hit them
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Mei Lee Koi. Hope I pronounced that right. Asks, have you had a chance to nerd out on manga at all or other languages and cultures comics? If so, did anything stand out for you? Is anything that you loved and want to try out or what?
Okay. So there is a couple that I've watched like on Netflix, so don't come at me. Seven Deadly Sins, I think it's called. There's also there's one about volleyball players. I feel so bad because I do love watching like Japan and animation. Akira is one of my favorite films. But I have not delved into it. And the biggest reason why is the time suck. Like I know I have to like just sit down and watch them. And once I start watching them, I won't stop watching them. So, but also to like Baki is another one that was on Netflix. But then like, yeah, you always see like, there's always so many and I'm just like Haruto and there's tons. So I can't say, yeah. Oh, Haikyuu, there it is. Yeah, Haikyuu. That's the one, the volleyball one. But yeah, I will do more to watch more, Melee. So thank you.
Okay, yeah. Akira, I remember I read Akira when it came out. I remember that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Back in the day. Um, okay, let's see. And then
Howl's Moving
also
Castle, Spirited Away.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
sorry.
one of my formative comics when I was growing up, which I was too young for it, but my parents had a book of Crazy Cat, and I remember just really enjoying Crazy Cat by Edward Harriman.
Oh
If you
shit.
don't know Crazy Cat, you got to check Crazy Cat out because it is
Okay.
wild stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was. I should revisit it, and make sure it's not like racist or something, because you know how.
I
But I remember just like being like super impacted by it's just like a hallucination out in the desert,
yeah.
really. All right, we gonna have to wrap this up, but here we go.
I like Letterman.
As how oh have you Alex DeLuca asked, have you ever hand lettered a full comic? And if
No,
so, could you talk about the Ames lettering guide?
no, and no.
No, I know. Okay.
No, I've never lettered a comic at all. Yeah, no. I wouldn't want to. Put it that way. I would not want to. That is, nope, no, thank you. There's a certain level of patience and skill and efficiency and time. I know, no, thank you.
It's true. It just takes a special talent.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Needed. Okay. And the last question, here we go. Oh, I see somebody snuck in another question when I wasn't not looking. Bruno asks, as it is not your traditional superhero logo, do you see similarities between the Fantastic Four logo and the Amazing Adult Fantasy one, which were launched simultaneously in 1961, and the whimsical Twilight Zone logo in 1959? Wow, Bruno is a specialist.
Yeah, I definitely see it between like the way the letter forms work, like the Twilight Zone especially, and Fantastic Four. I can see how those work together. But yeah, I had never thought of that. I mean, every single era has styles, right? Every single era has styles of fonts, and then like you have to keep in mind too that the letterers are probably graphic designers, so they were probably seeing what was out there, what was cool, what they were trying to do. So maybe they kind of just cross pollinated. Who knows? They could even been the same people. The circle, I'm sure, was really small, so they all talked. I don't know. That's really really cool though. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Ricardo, last question, then we got to hang it up. Ricardo asks, was wondering if there are any underground artists that also have influenced your craft regarding type design and lettering in comics, and also if you had some classic advice on hand lettering.
Okay, so underground artists, I have two really good friends, John Hageman and Manuel Martinez. I don't know if they're quote unquote underground, but they are both not non useful artists. And I buy stuff from shows all the time. I don't know if you could see, but there was a gentleman who was doing this of MF Doom, like the guy I was talking about earlier. You can't really see it, but I buy from artists whenever I'm at shows, and it's hard to remember all their names, but I go to Comic Con sometimes. But Manuel Martinez and John Hageman, those are my guys, and they're not super well known, but they're both pretty good artists. And as far as lettering goes, practice, learn letter forms, practice working letter forms, just learn all the different nuances of them. And then just practice standard ones, like just draw an A, draw a Garamond A or Adobe Calcin A, then draw a Proxima Nova, Helvetica A, draw Montserrat A. Draw all the different letter forms until you feel comfortable drawing them. And the other thing is too is like now, and me personally, I draw everything out pretty well, and then I scan it and then trace it, or sometimes I'll go right to the computer and go for it, because doing very precise hand lettering is a pain in the ass, and that's like calligraphy level, and there's so many people who can do it. So for me, when I letter, I really get a nice sketch in as close as I can, as tight as I can. Like this is one here. Like I brushed this out and then scanned it and then did it real quick, and that was it. So practice, practice, practice. Start with your simplest letter forms and then progress. Okay. That's what I would say.
I will only add that occasionally, this is some shameless self-promotion here. Occasionally, we at Letterform Archive run classes on hand lettering.
Oh,
so check them out.
There you go. Yeah.
We might have something coming up in the spring.
You should talk to them. They're the real experts.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, Kirk. This is great. Oh my God.
Well,
And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us too, and for being so active in the chat, and for dropping your own, questions and suggestions and everything. It was really lively and super fun.
Yes, thank you. And really, Grindle, this is really cool. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you all so much. It was really a lot of fun, and also very stressful, but really a lot of fun, more so than that.
You did great, everybody.
Thanks.
And we had a nice turnout too, so I'm super stoked about that.
Oh,
all right.
Great.
All right, everybody. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Ciao. Yeah.